Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Since independence time, Mount Kenya has played a very significant role in the country, politically, socially, and economically. There is no dispute about that. And this is because Mount Kenya was very lucky to have produced the first president of the Republic of Kenya, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. And then Kibaki was also their man, and Uhuru Kenyatta. In fact, they have produced 3 presidents out of the 5 that we have. Number 2, Mount Kenya is arguably the biggest and the largest voting bloc in our country, owing to their numbers, because I think the last census corroborated those facts that there are so many compared to the other regions. And number 3 is the fact that they usually vote as a bloc. 3/4 usually decide that this is the direction that we are moving. And the last one, there has always been an argument that they know how to make the right political choices. Recently, Rigathi Gachagua told us that they usually speak at night. You can make noise during the day, but they will retreat to their tribal cocoons and talk and decide where to move. I thought those were facts, except that the last one, where they make the right choices, is one that has been proved not to be true. Because if there is one person who has exposed Mount Kenya, he is William Samoei Ruto. And William Samoei Ruto has laid bare the weakest point of Mount Kenya that he continues to exploit. You know, William Ruto came to power because he was largely voted by Mount Kenya and Rift Valley. And when you juxtapose the way Rift Valley conducts themselves when it comes to receiving William Ruto and reacting to some of the changes in the government, it is very different from how Mount Kenya does it. Mount Kenya has been blindfolded so much that they cannot criticize William Samoei Ruto. Recently, you've seen Alfred Keter confronting William Samoei Ruto about the cost of living. You have seen the Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei telling us that Murkomen, the transport minister, is corrupt to the core, telling us that he's got this penchant of going to the Chinese contractors and getting bribes to the tune of $100 million, something to do with billions of Kenyan shillings, so that he can deny hustlers the small jobs that they are supposed to do and giving them to the Chinese contractors. And then, when the news came that Murkomen and Chirchir had been implicated in the opaque oil deal and that they were stealing from the Kenyan coffers, Chirchir was shouted down when he was in one of the churches in Bomet, Liten. And then recently, you saw this for yourselves when Murkomen was shouted down and people were shouting, Ruto must go, Ruto must go. Now, when you look at that and you compare it to what is happening in Mount Kenya, you can't see that in Mount Kenya. I know they have composed songs against William Ruto. I know William Ruto has been given cold reception whenever he visits Mount Kenya. And I know that when Uhuru Kenyatta was celebrating his birthday, they really celebrated with him. But they cannot confront William Samoei Ruto. And that is why I'm saying that William Ruto has exposed them. Now, look at it this way. When we conducted our elections in 2022, both Rigathi Gachagua, who became the deputy president, had political nemesis. People who did not vote for him. People who did not support Kenya Kwanza. People like Martha Karua. People like Jeremiah Kioni. People like Mwangi wa Iria. William Ruto, on his side, had people like Isaac Ruto, people like Gideon Moi. But how is William Ruto dealing with his enemies, the political enemies, so to call them? They are doing business with Gideon Moi. Gideon Moi was given some lucrative contracts. He has appointed Isaac Ruto into government. He has gone to jail and pardoned one of the Kalenjin sons who had been jailed for years. Rigathi Gachagua, on his side, he's busy hunting Uhuru's farm and sending goons to even touch his farm. He's busy implicating Maina Njenga, that is a Mungiki, is leading Mungiki. Sometimes it's taken to court that some illegal firearms that he has been found in possession of. In short, Rigathi Gachagua looks at those who are not supporting him and he labels them as enemies and is ready to deal with them. William Ruto looks at those who did not support him as potential supporters and he embraces them. And in William Ruto's corner, you've never seen William Ruto going after Alfred Keter. Yet Alfred Keter tweets and even tells him face to face that this is wrong. You've never seen William Ruto send policemen to them. People from the Kalenjin nation, where William Ruto comes from, shout at him and tell him, Ruto must go. They shout their own sons, Murkomen and Chirchir. What does it mean, ladies and gentlemen? These two groups formed the government. One has buried his head on the sand and they don't want to see the weaknesses in the government. The other is alive. They tell Ruto, we support you, but when you are going wrong, we will tell you. And this is why I'm telling you that Mount Kenya has been exposed, going after their own sons, while William Ruto is embracing their sons. They are unable to look at Ruto in the face and tell him no. People like Ndindi Nyoro, Kimani Ichung'wah, Rigathi Gachagua, they are busy showering William Ruto with the praises. In fact, anytime William Ruto is confronted by some scandal in Kenya, like recently there was that Gulf oil, he had to run, not to Rift Valley, but to Central to sanitize it. Because that is where he dumps all the vices. That is where he goes and they will be praising him. That's why he explains why all the bad things are happening. He does not go to the Rift Valley. When people were being killed during the demonstrations, after people had been killed and the demonstrations were over, he went to Mount Kenya. And that is why people like Rigathi Gachagua, Ndindi Nyoro, and Kimani Ichung'wah sanitized the bloodthirsty activities that took away the lives of many. He didn't do it in Rift Valley, he went to Mount Kenya. When the cost of living is so high and everyone is suffering, they will always run to Mount Kenya to explain, because that is where they ratify every dirt of the government. Let me tell you something, the effect of Mount Kenya being exposed like this, because we now know that maybe they didn't make the right choice this time round. Uhuru warned them. People like Mateni warned them. But that they fell into the very delicate trap of William Ruto. In fact, William Ruto used their own clergy to hoodwink them to vote for him. Today, they look back and they can't believe that William Ruto used this hustler narrative and they pick it up. The Mamamboga, the Shosh who helped to campaign for William Ruto and telling people just how bottom up economy and the hustler fund was going to help women was coming from Mount Kenya. Today, the other day she was complaining that she has been forgotten. And ladies and gentlemen, when you are quiet when people are suffering and you know very well that you too is part of the suffering, then it looks unwise and you give the government undue advantage. That's why the challenges are helping in one way or the other to pile pressure on the government. They can't entertain corrupt people like Chirchir. They can't entertain corrupt people or allegedly people like Murkomen. They will shut them down. In fact, Chirchir was shouted down in front of William Samoei Ruto, meaning that they cannot tolerate corruption. They cannot tolerate because they understand that they are also suffering when others are suffering. To Mount Kenya, they don't play a part in helping the government to improve. If you love someone, let them know their weaknesses. If you have a real friend, it is a friend who will tell you when you are wrong. That is the number one characteristic of your friend. Someone who will tell you in black and white whether you are going to get annoyed or be happy, but he will tell you, because someone who is helping you must tell you where you are wrong. So Mount Kenya is not helping William Samoei Ruto. But why do you think that they're blindfolded? Nguni Mutahi's tweet reveals why they are afraid. Nguni Mutahi said this, that, let me just see what Nguni said here. Nguni said that, dear Kikuyus, Mulembe Nation is the second largest voting bloc in Kenya. And Ruto will mend fences with Raila. If they come together, you will be out of government for 100 years. Be nice to Ruto. He has been decent to you. Take it or leave it. The end is near. If you look at Nguni's advice, it corroborates what we have always known, what Rigathi has always said. The fear of being left out as a running mate. Because there is a general feeling that William Ruto is not sure about the Mount Kenya votes. So he's looking for alliances everywhere. Especially people believe that he could go for Musalia Mudavadi. And so the loyalty part of it is because they want to entice, to endear themselves to William Samoei Ruto so that they don't even criticize when things are wrong. The fear that they might not be in the government or they might not be taken as a running mate. You must not be a running mate in Ruto's government to feel that you're part and parcel of the government. And if this is the reason why they are quiet, why they keep on showering William Ruto with praise even when things are wrong, then William Ruto will take advantage. This is why when William Ruto goes to other places, he launches some tangible projects. But when he goes to Mount Kenya, he relaunches Uhuru projects. And then to make it worse, people are still talking about this, that he decided to treat them to a delicacy of rice and meat in Sagana State Lodge. This is how low and cheap we can become. I know when they did it, maybe some were just overwhelmed with joy that at least they had an opportunity to get into Sagana State Lodge. And you see it was being done because they were saying that Uhuru never allowed them to be there or something of the sort. They must show that they are serious so that William Ruto will give them serious things. There was this narrative that William Ruto goes to other places to launch projects, but he goes to Mount Kenya for an interdenominational prayer and invokes the name of the Lord and tells them that Raila wants a handshake. And then they will be boiling all over, forgetting that they are supposed to be given some goodies, roads, and markets and all that. Let Mount Kenya be part and parcel of change. And I'm not saying that all of them are not part and parcel of change. But those who are still showering Ruto with praises, those who are still going on Twitter and Facebook and insulting those who are criticizing the government, prove that you are the real Mount Kenya that people have always known, making the right choices, not choices that later come back to haunt you guys, haunting Kenyans. I'm sure if Mount Kenya had voted wisely, today we have not been where we wouldn't have been where we are today. But we have a collective responsibility. Those who were warned and they refused, they chased their own son. They even did it after elections, accusing him of taking land that was meant for Mau Mau. And in this video, I'm just telling you that Mount Kenya must make the right choices. They must make a paradigm shift. Otherwise, we have always labeled them as political genius. They are not. You only make the right choices that will help you in the subsequent days after elections. But today, look at where we are. And do you know what they're still being told? Give Ruto time. What kind of time do you still want? When you give someone time and you wake up to headlines of corruption, people signing deals from oil to rope from Kenyans. What kind of time that you want when you give someone time and there's corruption and everything within the ministries? Increasing taxes every day. Insecurity is overwhelming them. They keep on blaming the previous regime. What amount of time do you want? Do you agree with me that William Ruto has exposed Mount Kenya? They are not what we thought they were. The weak links that William Ruto is exploiting. I don't know what you think, but that is my take.